So I'm going to show you now how to tie up my hard pellet deck rig for CARP, and it actually comes in my CARP range of rig strips from Rigmate. And so this actual strip itself has a 2mm CARP dink float on, and this float's really important for actually big carp fishing. Now it has a 2mm bristle, so when I'm fishing with 6mm and 8mm Coppins pellets, they're not going to sink the float. So it's really important you have a nice visible bristle. So 2mm bristle on this, nice slim bodied float, and just a flexi wire stem. And that wire stem just sits really stable in any wind, because normally if I'm fishing hard pellets, it's normally on big lakes. So that's the actual float, and I'm just going to actually tie it up for you now, and it tells you on these rig strips exactly what to do. So obviously the float's on here and the actual shot I'm going to use. So I'm just going to start with putting the strip on the actual Rigmate itself, and the whole end of the Rigmate just goes over the pin on the right hand side, and the actual groove just goes over the pin on the left hand side. So the actual strip now is nice in position in the Rigmate and ready to tie the actual rig. So just going to get the actual line now on the strip itself. It says time on 017 or 019 power line, and today I'm just going to go for 019. Nice, strong, durable line, and it's just never going to let you down. So just going to put it on the end here, just tying him in position like so. Just going to tighten him nicely down, if I can just get it like so. So he's nicely on position now. Just going to let a little bit of slack line off. And what I like to do when I'm retying my rigs is just leave the actual floats on little bits of line, so I don't have to put the silicones on every time. And that's just a handy little trick, that is, just for speeding up retying of rigs. So just leave them on little bits of line, and I just get the end of this and I get the end of my new line, and I just tie a little overhand loop in the two end bits like so, just to connect them together. Wet him up, make him nice and small and tight. I'm just going to drag the actual float onto the new line. There we go, and just slowly pull him through. So let that knot slowly pull through all those silicone rubbers, like so. And it's just a little speedy tip this is for when you retie your rig. So now I've got my float on my new bit of line. This is the old bit of line it was on. I can just thread him up, and now I can just cut away this joining piece of line like so. So now I have my float nicely on the actual line like so. So my next job now is just to tie an actual loop, and what I like to do to tie my loop is just use a loop tire. I just think it makes a nice, strong, durable loop, and it's always the same size. So it's nice and consistent on all your rigs. So I just put it in the neck at the bottom, twist it twice, and just put it in the groove in the middle, just to make the nice little loop. And this is just a little census loop tire. I like little loops personally. I just think they're just less cumbersome in the water. So a nice little loop like so. Just trim the tag end, nice and small, nice and tight. Perfect. So now I've got a little loop, and I've got my line, my float on the line. So my rig's ready now to actually put the shot on. So what I like to do is just get it so the line's nice and tight, and just put this line on the pin at the bottom, like so. Just put that line round that bit there, the other pin at the other end, and just tighten him now, nice and tight. So I've got a nice tight line for actually putting the actual shots I'm going to put on. So here we are on the actual Rigmate now, on that strip. It tells you exactly how many shot it takes for what size of float. So I've got 4x16, 4x14 and 4x12 all on these strip, and they tell you how many shot to use. Today I'm tying up a 4x16 float, so it uses 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, number 9. So now what I like to do is just mark the line where the actual shots are going to position, and it tells you this on the actual strip. So just going to mark the line now. So 1 on the loop, 1 there, 1 there. I'm just following the actual shot positions, and it just makes your rigs always nice and consistent. And I think, well, I've marked these out myself, so all these strips are designed by myself, and I just think the shot positioning here is absolutely perfect. And it's just a nice little, like a shirt button style shotting pattern really. So, and now obviously I've marked it with a line pen, like a black pen, so now I can see exactly where the shots are going to go, and I'm just going to put them on one by one on those black markers. And that nice tight line on the rig mate makes it really easy now. Just put the shots on. I've got to put 9 of these on, so it's going to take a little bit of time. But yeah, I've chosen on this strip just to use 4x16, 4x14 and 4x12 floats. Nice, heavyish floats, and I prefer that for these carp or these big hard pellets. It's normally fishing in deeper water, and I just think the heavier floats just sit nice and stable in any conditions, to be honest. So that's why I picked those. So just putting the 5th one on now, just trying to nicely centralise the shot. I don't want them just hanging on to the line, because then they could ping off, but I want them nice and centralised, like so. And I chose shot for these strips and not stots, because stots move all the time, and for me, when I'm fishing this kind of style shotting pattern, it does my head in. So I like shot, because these ones, they just stay nicely in position. These are actually Balabini shot I'm using, and they don't mess around, they don't move around at all, and that's just what I want. Just 2 more to go now. Yep, the last one just by the loop. I always have my last one on that loop, and then I change hook lengths depending on what I'm doing. So that's going to be the last shot there. Perfect. Just pin him down. Perfect. So now I've got all my shots on my line, so 9 number 9s, and he's ready to put on a winder. So just going to take it off that loop end and just going to slacken the line off this end, like so. Now I can just wrap it around the actual winder. So just going to put the loop on the end, on the pin on the end, and I'm just going to wrap him around about 15 times, because that's normally, well, it's just over the length of one of my top kits, and to be honest, that's the depth of water I'm going to be fishing these in. So that's 3. Put the float nice and central in the middle so he doesn't get damaged. 3, and just going to wrap it around 15 times. 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I'm just going to cut the line there. And now all I do is just tie a nice big overhand loop and just put it around the actual corner of the actual winder. And normally, to be honest, I end up cutting these down, and then I tie it with a loop tie when I'm actually on the bank. So like so, just wet him down. Nice big loop so you can easily get it off. And yeah, I'm just going to put it around the corner like so. And that is a perfectly tied deck rig for hard pellets and carp fishing. If you want to get your hands on this rig strip, it's available in my range of carp rig strips, and they are on the Rigmate store at www.rigmate.co.uk.